guys really enjoyed that last video, shows that might give you the Severance feel. That being the case, I feel like I'm obliged to finish my list of shows because the truth is there's a gang of them, but they aren't always easy to locate. So let's kick off round 2 and maybe, just maybe, I'll put you onto a new show that you can check out and possibly enjoy. We're gonna keep this intro brief because we got a lot to cover and I'm honestly raring to start. Also, just like the last video, I'm gonna try to be as spoiler-free in my descriptions as I possibly can. Really fast though, shout out to the patrons. As always, y'all make this possible. Never forget, the link to the patrons is in the description. Also, we gotta plug the Discord. Buckle up, it's time to dive. Our first offering is a show that is almost guaranteed to scratch that Severance itch. It's a little mini-series called Devs. Here's the gist. Lily Chan, a brilliant young engineer, suspects her boyfriend's death is somehow tied to the bleeding-edge tech company that she currently works for, Amaya. It's kind of like the Google campus, but on a whole nother level. Lily dives down this rabbit hole of a story, and the only hint I'll give you is that it involves some heavy-duty theoretical science that breaks all the rules of reality, with some really bizarro implications. The story also asks the audience to think about the ideas of determinism versus free will, but it's cranked up to 11. Nick Offerman, my favorite Parks and Rec character, plays the captivatingly creepy CEO, full of calm smiles and cryptic pronouncements, the kind of tech guru who makes you wonder what exactly goes on behind those glasses. Lily is played by the fantastic Sonoya Mizuno. Ex Machina strikes again. She's the anchor. She's whip smart, determined, but she's not an action hero, and that makes her so much more relatable. Devs is another puzzle box of a show, and it's not gonna spoon feed you the answers. But if you dig slow burn mysteries that venture into the philosophical, then this might be your jam. Just don't expect all the loose ends to be neatly tied up by the finale, because that's kind of the point. Alright, so let's compare Devs to Severance. 1-to-1. Both of them scratch that same creepy corporate mystery itch. Both have massive tech companies with unsettling secrets lurking behind their sleek facades. And let's not forget the unsettling figures. Both Lumen's mysterious board and Forrest in Devs give off major cult vibes. Same dark undercurrent, different flavor. So if you like the mystery and unsettling vibes of Lumen and Severance, Devs will be right up your alley. A lot of us are suffering from comic book movie fatigue at this point. I don't know about you, but that's definitely the case for me. But there are those rare MCU titles that really push the envelope in terms of story and drama while satisfying the comic book hero Jones, assuming you have one. With that, I give you Legion, one of the strangest and most unorthodox Marvel stories besides Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, an absolute banger, and Old Man Logan, which is another chef's kiss. Legion isn't your typical superhero show. Forget capes and tights, this dives headfirst into the chaotic, trippy world of mental illness. This ain't your typical comic TV crossover fare. This one's got legs. Our protagonist, David Haller, is a troubled young man struggling with a lifetime of hallucinations and diagnosed with schizophrenia. But here's the twist. The voices in his head might actually be real. Imagine if Inception and Fight Club had a schizophrenic love child. Enter Syd Barrett. She joins forces with David to help him navigate this crazy new world and maybe even unlock the secrets of his mind. Legion is a visual feast with impressive special effects and a trippy aesthetic that throws reality out the window. It's not afraid to get weird. Get ready for some seriously out there visuals. Now, with all of that said, Legion isn't just about the spectacle. It's a surprisingly nuanced exploration of mental illness, challenging perceptions and blurring the lines between reality and delusion. It's more than just a superhero show, it's a mind trip with a heart. One other thing is these shows both focus on unlocking hidden truths. Mark is trying to uncover the dark secrets at Lumen. David is trying to unlock the mysteries within his own mind. It's a chaotic puzzle waiting to be pieced together. So if you're looking for something different, something that will mess with your head in the best way possible, then Legion might be your drug of choice. So if you want to check it out, just make sure you're prepared for a different kind of trip. Alright, so next up is The Leftovers. The Leftovers is atypical as far as post-apocalyptic dramas go. This show tackles the emotional fallout of a giant, unexplained vanishing act in the form of a mysterious rapture that spirits away 2% of the Earth's population. 2 years after millions of people disappear in a blink, we meet Kevin Garvey, a small town cop just trying to hold things together. His world's gone sideways with cults popping up like mushrooms and people clinging to whatever faith or craziness they can find. Well, you know I like to make my comparison, so this one's kind of like the Waco, Texas thing, but with a nervous breakdown, if you're old enough for that reference. The Leftovers is another slow burn. There's a lot of slow burns on this list, by the way, so get used to me saying that. I would say though that this is more of a character study than an action adventure. It's about grief, loss, and the desperate desperate search for meaning in a world that doesn't make sense anymore. That kind of resonates right now. Anyway, it's quirky, it's dark, it's moody, it's introspective, and it will leave you pondering long after the credits roll. Seriously, this show haunted me for weeks after I finished it, leaving me with some deep questions to think about, and I'm willing to bet it will do the same thing for you. Like I said, this is a true slow burn, more than anything else on this list. Don't expect it to start out with a bang, but trust me when I tell you, the story will take you places you never imagined. Severance is more psychological. Leftovers is a character-driven drama, but they both have the same mystery box vibes. But yeah, both shows really focus on human connections in a strange world. Alright, so the next show on the list is the OA. Now, if I had to pick a one-liner to describe this show, I would say it's Lost meets Alice in Wonderland. I think that's about right. This is another one that's very unusual. Forget your standard whodunits. Now, before I get into the description, this show was canceled after season 2 because, it's Netflix and they don't care about views as much as they care about subscriptions. It's a true shame because this is a fantastic voyage, and the millions of fans who fell in love with the series are still trying to get Netflix to bring the show back to finish the story. That said, I still recommend this one because the story is that good. So let's get into the plot a little bit. The main character is Prairies. She's a young woman who vanished years ago. She's returned home, but she's different. She can see for the first time and claims to have been held captive in a bizarre experiment that I'm gonna let you discover on your own. She gathers a group of outcasts, each with their own baggage, to help her perform a series of movements. Now, what are the movements? That's too much to spoil right now. Again, another puzzle box, but this has some serious action adventure elements to it. If you watch the OA, you're probably gonna end up rewatching it because there are so many hidden details, much like Severance. I mean, I ended up watching this one twice, and a few episodes got 3 or 4 views. Yeah, I was that guy. The OA's story is epic in scale, and you might find yourself attached to some of these characters by the time it's all said and done, in the same way that many did for the cast of Lost. Here's the bottom line. Make sure you got your tinfoil caps ready because you're gonna need it for the OA. Don't act like you didn't know this was gonna happen. You knew Black Mirror would make the cut, but let's be more specific. I'm talking about 2 episodes that I think a Severance fan would love, and that's The Entire History of You, and of course, White Christmas. Let's talk about The Entire History of You first. Now, this is my second favorite episode of all time in the series, full disclosure and all. The Entire History of You is an episode that will make you question the wisdom of having your entire life an instant replay. Imagine this, a grain. Think super advanced DVR implanted into your dome, and it records everything you see and hear. Sounds like a dream come true, right? This episode dives into a world where everyone has this built-in memory recorder. Everybody's got this recorder in their head, and you can relive that awkward moment from high school with cringe-worthy detail, or zoom in on every fight you've ever had with your significant other. Not exactly a recipe for a happy marriage. The problem is, just like those severed employees in Luminon Severance, people get stuck in the past. Relationships crumble because everyone's a detective, replaying arguments and searching for hidden motives. Can you imagine never being able to truly forgive someone or move on from a mistake? The story itself is about a young couple that are low-key going through it, but because they have the grain implants, things get so very messy. This one's brutal when it comes to the feels, because the acting is phenomenal and the script is tight. The episode will make you extremely uncomfortable at times, in the way that Black Mirror is so good at doing. The Entire History of You isn't just about reliving memories, it's about privacy and the dark side of technology. Definitely check this one out. Alright, let's talk about White Christmas. It's starring John Hamm. That's all you need to know. I'm just kidding, of course. Black Mirror's White Christmas is not a Christmas special. Okay, so I would say that Black Mirror's White Christmas, think It's a Wonderful Life, but it's a dystopian nightmare instead. White Christmas in Black Mirror features 2 interlocking stories. We meet Matt, a lonely traveler working on a remote snowy outpost, and Joe, who arrives and seems eager to talk. Must resist the urge to spoil. As usual, Black Mirror pulls no punches, and White Christmas is no exception. It's a dark, cynical look at the potential pitfalls of technology, exploring the themes of loneliness, social isolation, and the dangers of escapism. It'll leave you questioning the choices we make in a world increasingly dominated by tech. So if you're looking for a feel-good holiday special, steer clear. I would say that White Christmas echoes in theme too. White Christmas shows how tech can isolate people further. Anyway, those are the best 2 options. There are a few others. Maybe I'll mention them later, but we'll stop here for now. Now, this is normally where I'd be done with this video, but I think I'm gonna do one more. Shout out to Derek Heimforth. He sent me a message to remind me of The Prisoner. First things first, this show came out in the 1960s, and I understand that some people don't like to watch really old shows. I know a lot of people who will not watch anything past the 90s, and that's fine. Do what you want to do. Maybe make an exception here because this one really is that good, and I think you'll find yourself immersed in the story in no time. Forget the usual Black Mirror bleakness. This one's a mind-bending trip with a side of bowler hats and outlandish schemes. The Prisoner stars Patrick McGoohan as Number 6, a former spy who wakes up in a bizarre, seemingly idyllic village. It's all sunshine and lollipops, but something's seriously off. Number 6 is a prisoner, but of what and why? Think of Mark and Severance trying to unravel Lumen's secrets, but with flower power and way less sterile office vibes. Just like Severance, it explores themes of control, free will, and the power of corporations. In this case, our stand-in for corporations would be the creepy village. Unlike Severance's slower burn, Prisoner throws weirdness at you, like confetti. So expect psychedelic imagery, outlandish plots, and a healthy dose of 60s camp. Well, tinfoilers, thanks so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end. You're a star. That's what the real ones do. Hopefully I gave you some new alternatives to watch while we're trying to survive 2024. Once again, thank you to the patrons, superstars to the last. Be good to yourself because you deserve it. Until then, off you go.